You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
What a beautiful day for horses in the morning.
You are listening to the #1 horse podcast in the world. Here is your entertaining look at the horse world and the people in it.
Well, good Monday morning, everybody. I am Glenn the Geek from Ocala, Florida.
And I'm Jamie Jennings in Norman, Oklahoma. You're listening to Horses in the Morning on the Horse Radio Network for Monday, September 16th, episode 3520, brought to you today by WERM Flooring. Good morning, horse people.
You heard that right. It's Monday. The first day of a fabulous week of shows on Horses in the Morning. So saddle up and ride along. We promise to help you get through your week.
Yes, we do. And we have a fun show planned for you today. We're going to find out how Jamie made out later in the show with her students at the Oklahoma horse auction.
Oh, Lord.
You went, right?
Yeah, we went.
Okay. Auditor Ruth, one of our longtime listeners, did her century ride. And we're going to have her on to talk about that. And what does it take to put on...
Did Jamie buy me a horse?
Jennifer wants to know if Jamie bought her a horse at the auction.
Well, stick around. We'll find out.
And what does it take to put on a big horse show in Las Vegas? We're going to find that out as well. We will have an auditor post show for you, too. No Equestrian First World Problems today. Instead, we're doing auction First World Problems on today's show. And I don't know this story. I can't wait to hear it.
I seriously, I love to tell you at the beginning because I have anxiety about preparing the experience in a reasonable and well-told way, you know? So to get out of the way. I'm here, though. We made it home. We're home. We did it.
All right. Well, I keep your fingers crossed for Jennifer and I, everybody. If all goes well, we should have our house keys by Wednesday. So
yay!
Everything's finally coming together, hopefully. Fingers crossed, toes crossed. And also, thank you for your feedback on Poop Week. I did that to annoy the heck out of the audience after all the gross things you guys do to me all the time. And they all seem to really like it and learned a lot.
Backfire! You can't fire up a bunch of women talking about horses, anything. We'll talk about anything.
So apparently it was a hit. So thank you, everybody. I got more response about that than I have most anything else we've done. So maybe Poop Week will become an annual adventure. And everybody really liked Friday's show. So thank you, everybody. We actually did enjoy doing Poop Week. It was a little different. And now they're all asking, what are the theme weeks? Well, if you have ideas on theme weeks you want us to do, let us know. We're open to suggestions, so let us know. We had talked about doing a tack week where we focus on like bits and saddle fitting and all that kind of stuff, but I think that's going to get postponed because of my surgery. But we're still looking at doing a tack week. Maybe over the winter would be a good time for that. So if you have other ideas, help us out here. Let us know what your ideas are, and we'd be happy to entertain them. So let's do some Daily Whinnies now. First birthday is actually an auditor, but she's also a neighbor of ours here, and she is a park ranger. Her name is Thea Knott, and she's Ashley's mom. She lives right down the road from us. And Joanna Stepka, happy birthday to both of you. Also, I don't know if you saw this over the weekend, Jamie, because I know you were busy at auctions and things.
Oh my God, of course I saw this. This is so amazing.
Congratulations to Elisa Wallace, a longtime guest of our show, and of course, you know, Elisa and you bonded over Mustangs years ago. Well, Lisa attended the 2024 Mustang Classic English Makeover, which was the first time I think they had this. And that was at the Kentucky Horse Park at the Rolex Arena. And Zephyr, her Mustang, won the makeover with a Willy Wonka-themed freestyle performance. I don't know if you saw it, but
she also evented him, too.
Yes.
And they won that. And I would... Do you know how much the prize money was for winning?
No.
$50,000.
Really?
Yes, go girls!
Somebody
That's
put up some
awesome.
bucks.
I know, I love it. That's so cool. So she had the giant check and everything. So I'm really excited for her. Congratulations. There's nobody who is a better ambassador for Mustangs than Elisa.
Wow, that is so cool. I didn't know about the prize money. I wonder if she was so happy.
Her dad is like, yay!
Yay.
I'm sure he was.
Rick is her dad, and he announced there for the freestyle, I think. So that's kind of cool that he got to see his daughter win too while he was announcing. So good job. Good job, family. All right, your turn.
Well, we are broadcasting live in studio with a live in studio audience. Say hello, everybody. Hello. I have with me Electra, Angie, and Janet, and they are here. And I wanted to give them my daily Winnie because we had just such an amazing week. I don't do riding lessons anymore, but these three won't go away. They keep showing up. So they brought their horses this time. At least Angie and Janet brought their horses, and Electra rode one of mine because she came all the way from New York. Kind of hard to bring one in from there. But they spent the week, and we just had riding lessons every day and then cooking lessons every night and ate some of the finest fare the world has ever seen.
You haven't eaten like that in a year since she was here last year.
I'm so fat. It's not even funny. I'm going to have to fast after this. But, so I wanted to give them a daily Winnie, but really I want to give my daily Winnie to Walter, Miles, and Simcha. They were the real stars of the week. All three, and it is so funny. Yes, the horse's name is Walter. How old is he? Six. 8.5-year-old thoroughbred. Obviously, Miles, my 5-year-old Andalusian, and Simcha is how old Simcha? 6-year-old Arabian, and they were just fantastic. We had great lessons every day, and it was really, really fun. So these guys all originated from my clinic last year. They kind of bonded here when I held my Monty Roberts intro course, and there's good news. It's a little late in the game, but I had a spot open up. And so there's one spot open for the clinic October 7th through the 18th. I mean, it's like a couple weeks away, but just in case anybody out there was like, I really wanted to do that. There's one spot open. One of the wives of the participants had a horse accident, as you do. And she's like, won't let him go because he needs to stay home and feed the horses. So perfect horse wife situation. So one spot is open. If you want to know about it, just email me, jamie@horseradionetwork.com.
All right, very good. Hey, to get off of horses for a bit, because we talked a lot of poop last week, we haven't talked TV in a bit. So before we get to our first guest, I wanted to mention Only Murders in the Building is back with season 4. And,
how excited are you about that?
Oh, very excited. And the first 3 episodes are out, and it's as good as ever. That show just every year just delivers. So it's as good as ever. I also wanted to mention something that I stumbled on Hulu. And I think it's on Disney Plus. Well, Hulu and Disney Plus are the same now. But it's called Watch. It's In the Arena. Serena Williams is the title of it. And it's a documentary style actually series about the Williams sisters. And I don't care if you're into tennis or not. This was done really well. It is really good. And it's done by them. So you get the firsthand account of what actually happened with dad and growing up and where they came from. And because, they came from the toughest part of LA. They were broke, poor, and had to do everything with no money. And it was just a fascinating thing. And even if you're not, Jennifer watched it with me. She's not a tennis fan. And she was in there the whole time, too. It's really done well. And it leaves you hanging kind of at the end of each episode.
Well, I mean, if you're not human if you can't appreciate that story and their rise and the hard work and perseverance that you have to have at that type of level. So that sounds good. I'll check that out.
It is kind of, it was interesting too to see them in their early days of playing professional tennis. They didn't play in the junior circuit because dad wouldn't let them. He said, junior circuit is toxic, so I'm not going to let you play. And then, so they started at 16 years old playing as a pro, and I forgot how little they were. They were just kids, really good kids, but they were just kids. So it's been fascinating to watch the whole thing. It really has. And so I kind of recommend that. Check that out.
Cool. Yeah. That's an amazing story. I did find out that Monty Roberts now, the movie's on Masterclass, so you can check that, The Cowboy and the Queen, out. And it seems like it's becoming a little more accessible to watch. So look for The Cowboy and the Queen, another documentary type movie about, I mean, come on, about a horse trainer. Like, it's coolest.
Yep, and you said Masterclass. That's masterclass.com.
It's one of the master classes. Yeah,
okay.
I'm not familiar with that, but I think you have to subscribe to that, and you have access to all of the master classes. So it's a little pricier than y'all just ponying up and paying for it when you can order for $8 online. But point is, it's there. Now, I do want to tell you that Anna is almost 16 years old. She's my foreign exchange student from Germany. And she obviously, I've got to get her indoctrinated to some American television. And we've watched a couple movies, but there is just nothing better to introduce a young, impressionable teenager to than Ted Lasso. Oh, my God.
Well, was that an American TV show or British?
It's both.
Okay.
It's about an American that goes to England to coach he's an American football coach, and he goes to England to coach a British football team. Right, yeah. So soccer team. And it's heartwarming, but there is a lot of swear words and there's some naughty bits. And so I can't watch it with Lucas. So now I have a TV partner. I'm like, Ted Lasso. We started Lost with her as well. And we got a couple seasons into
you only
Lost,
have 25 seasons to go for that.
I know. And I realized how much I hated Ben. And so when Ben came on, we kind of quit watching because I'm not motivated because I hate Ben. I hate that guy.
So did she a soccer fan from Germany?
No, she basically loves horses. It's fantastic. So no, there's not really any care about anything besides horses. That's why I love her, and she's fantastic. And she was here with us for all these lessons this week, and she's just as happy as can be. And I have introduced her to. I've taken her to some things in Oklahoma, which looking back, I'm like, that might not have been the best idea.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah. So I took her to the chicken auction, which is just.
Well, that's a cultural experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it sure is.
It's culture.
And I took her to the horse auction this weekend.
Another cultural experience.
Yeah, it is very cultural. Not the culture I would like to represent, but yeah.
Have you forced her endlessly to watch boring baseball?
Well, you know what? My team was so good at the beginning of the year, and now they had a bunch of injuries and they kind of suck now. So no, we haven't been watching much baseball.
You probably should take her to a real baseball game though. Right.
Well, it's over soon, and then but maybe we'll go in the spring. I think we should do that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you need to do that, I think. And probably go to one Oklahoma Sooners game because that'd be an experience.
Yes, she's definitely going to do that.
Yeah.
And then also her birthday is in a couple weeks, and so I bought tickets to Frontier City, which is
is that the local amusement park?
So bad. Frontier City. Welcome, y'all. So it is it's basically like a broke ass Six Flags. Okay. So it is a Six Flags, technically, it's owned by Six Flags, but it is a small, it's like a carny.
Like everything else in Oklahoma.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they're having Fright Night. So we got some tickets to go, and they're starting the Halloween stuff, and we're going to go. And before that, I'm going to take her to the tack shop and let her get some.
It's too bad Tiger King's still not around. You could have gone and see the Tigers.
Oh, we could have held little baby tigers and listened to Joe Exotic cuss and swear and
on
do
that
all sorts
note,
of fun stuff.
There is a company out of Oklahoma that you do want to see, and that is WERM Flooring. Winter's coming, and you will be having some nasty weather hitting your trailer roof. Leaky roofs are a very common problem in horse trailers and RVs. WERM Flooring now does your trailer roof. WERM Flooring's revolutionary silicone-based coating creates a barrier against the heat and wet. First, it seals your roof and stops leaks before they start. And second, it reflects back nearly 90% of the nasty UV rays, keeping your trailer or barn up to 60 degrees cooler on a blistering day. So ditch the duct tape and the buckets. Invest in a long-lasting peace of mind with Seal and Chill. It's applied by pros for a flawless flawless finish and is only $7.50 per square foot. That's a steal for a cooler, drier, happier trailer or RV, which means happier horses and happier people. Head on over to WERM, that's WERM flooring.com to find a dealer near you. First up, we have one of our terrific auditors, longtime listener, Ruth McCormick, who did something very special over the weekend.
I would love to welcome to the show Ruth McCormick. She did something that is so cool, and I'm so proud of you, Ruth. She completed her century ride over the weekend. Hi, Ruth.
Good morning, Jamie and Glenn and all my HRN peeps.
I'm so glad you're here. Okay, for those who are sitting here going, what is a century ride? Explain what it is.
Sure. The Dressage Foundation has a program of people who, with their horses, equal 100 years or more in age. And may I, just an aside, I really feel quite unqualified for this because you talked the other day about the Queen being 96 and Emma, her pony, being 22. And I have just squeaked over the 100-year threshold, let's put it that way.
So
anyway,
basically,
Sidney Collier from that day would have told me to own it, so I'm owning it.
Well, you're just a baby century rider, okay? You just feel you super young and youthful and vibrant, I'm sure. So tell us about your horse.
My horse is a 27-year-old Westphalian mare who I've had for 16 years, and she's a mare. She's quite good, except for when she decides that she wants to be in a little snit, but she's actually a great worker, and I don't have any idea how she's going to stop working because she really loves her basically daily schooling and an occasional hack and all of that.
You get no break. She's just going to keep you going.
She is, and it's great.
Tell us her name.
Joy. Oh, her name is Joy. Her German name is Feine Dame, but everybody would have slaughtered that. So she needed a barn name, and her sire is Freudenprinz, which is like Prince of Joy. So there we are.
Why do you think I made you pronounce the name? Feine Dame.
Well, at least you did. At least you didn't give it to Glenn.
Oh no,
hey,
no chance.
I'm still here.
No chance. So what do you do in a century ride test? What are the movements?
Well, the good news is that you can ride any level test you want. So there were two of us on Saturday, my friend Dottie Minter and her horse Pedro, and she rode a training level 3 and I rode a first level 1, and both of our horses really have done more than that in their lifetime, but you don't want to press your 27-year-olds to do something, like Joy and I showed at third level, but I don't want to make her do lateral work, and once in a while I let her do a change because she likes to do them, but I don't want to do anything on a daily basis that's going to, endanger her ligaments and her soundness. So you can do anything. You could do an intro test, and we had a great time.
I laughed because I thought you were going to say for my century ride, I don't want to do anything that might be a little fireworks. Let's keep it simple and just get through the century ride. So I noticed a big, beautiful rosette on your mares. So tell us how you ended up scoring.
Oh, how I ended up scoring. Well,
how do they score that?
Well, with century rides, you just have to complete the test.
Okay.
But in this case, I got a 72.9%. And truthfully, I have never, ever, ever gotten that in my show career. In fact, I've only broken 66 once. So it was really wonderful.
Oh my gosh, Ruth, that's amazing.
Sounds to me like your show career's just starting.
I know, right?
Yeah, I just need to show at a level that I can actually really ride well at. So there we are.
That's fantastic. Well, we're real proud of you, and Joy. Please give her lots of cookies and treats and smooches and carrots and hugs, all from all of us here at the Horse Radio Network.
I am very excited and proud to be recognized, and it is fun, and any of you can do it. You don't have to be a certain amount of rider. I'm not even sure you have to be like a member of any association to do it. And I think there have been about 750 or 800 total since the program was started. So you can still join when not that many people have done it. It started 20 or 30 years ago. So it's fun, and it's a great excuse to have a party and invite your friends.
Glenn, you're so on your way. Ruth she just threw the gauntlet down, man. You're going to have to get yourself
I have a few more years between Scooter and I, a few more.
I know, but we can find you a little pony. You're close.
Maybe a little driving dressage for Scooter. That would be boring to you, but maybe fun.
Well, and I also have to thank Father Mac, was my little birdie that told me about this. So I have to thank Father Mac.
I figured that out at some point. Yes. Yes.
Oh, Joe. Well, Ruth, we're so excited. We're so excited for you and Joy. Congratulations. And hopefully, cheers to many more.
Okay. And hopefully I inspire a lot of other listeners to do the same.
Today's show is sponsored in part by Purina Animal Nutrition, with 3 research-backed ration balancers to fill nutritional gaps in your horse's diet. Enrich Plus delivers a concentrated source of proteins, vitamins, and minerals without unnecessary calories. Enrich Plus Senior features Active Age prebiotic technology and Outlast supplement for aging easy keepers. Omega Match is rich in omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin E, great for horses without access to green grass. Find a ration balancer for your horse at purinamills.com/ration balancers, or visit your local feed store, which is where I'm going to have to go and find a ration balancer for myself after all of the food I have consumed this week, Glenn. Oh my God. And Electra doesn't make it for like that meal. She'll make like 4 days worth. So I probably have 2 weeks worth of food in my refrigerator and freezer.
Yeah, chefs can't cook for 4. They cook for 20.
She just gave you the thumbs up.
Well, up next, we have Steve Stallworth, appropriate name for his job, actually. General Manager of the South Point Arena and Equestrian Complex in Las Vegas. So many of you listening right now have been there for various events because they do so many. But, Steve, thanks for joining us.
All right. Well, Glenn, a pleasure to be here and talk to your listeners out there.
You know, every time I attend a big event, because I do have put on events in the past, and I know what the logistics are involved in putting on small events, and I can't imagine what it's like putting on big events in Las Vegas, too, another added complexity there. So you guys do how many events a year?
Well, Glenn, this year in 2024, it'll probably be the same in 2025. We will host about 46 weeks of equestrian events, which is kind of how I like to position it, because we have 4 arenas, and a lot of times we'll have, a couple of different equestrian events going on. So 46 weeks of events, and, we're very blessed to be that busy and to host that many.
How many stalls? Do you know?
1,200.
1,200, okay.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 1,200 stalls, 4 arenas. We have 3 indoor arenas and then a massive sort of outdoor arena, which really we constructed for warm-up, but now more and more of our events are using that to compete in as well. We have another, 50 acres or so for horse trailer parking and livestock pens and all that. So it's kind of a boutique sort of equestrian center, but at the same time, we have plenty of room outdoors to accomplish a lot of things as well.
And, people who haven't been there, if you're thinking the Strip downtown, that's not the case. You guys are a little bit out of town.
That's correct. We're about 3 miles south of Mandalay Bay Hotel Casino, which a lot of people know where that is. But, our city is growing like crazy, so it really is sort of growing up all around us, if you will. And we like to kind of call ourselves an urban ranch, if you will. So
yeah, because the city's really moved out around you.
That's right, absolutely. And for those listeners of yours that don't know, Glenn, we have 2,200 hotel rooms, 11 restaurants, we have a bingo hall, we have a movie theater. We have 2 bowling centers, one 60-lane bowling center.
60 lane? Oh, my God.
And we have 120 lanes total. We also have a 60-lane tournament bowling facility. So it's a very big property, and, we just play a small role in what we do. So.
Well, and the neat thing about what you guys do, too, is you're not just doing horse events. You do basketball and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, and we used to do a lot more of that until our equestrian, calendar got really, really busy. But yeah, like I said, 46 weeks of equestrian, and then those other weeks we do the largest antique motorcycle auction in the world. We do college basketball in December, and we do a couple of convention weeks in there as well. But we wake up every day thinking about our horse friends and our equestrian events. And we were talking earlier a little bit too, Glenn, about just those weeks of events. We're a little different than probably some equestrian facilities in the country, where we don't like the long events. A lot of facilities would love to have that 20 or even 30-day event that they can just park in their building and, let it sit for the month. We don't like that. We like we like to turn our building every week. So we try to do events that are 4, 5, 6 days, and then boom, turn the building. We kind of think that people might be out of money after 3 or 4 days, so let's get another event.
There is a
here,
casino there, so we have to keep that in mind.
Right. That's right.
So what do you guys do? I know other people run the shows. So you have show organizers that basically come in and rent the facilities. So what are your responsibilities as the people in charge of the facility?
Yeah, good question, because we are very blessed that we do not have to produce events and own those events. When we first opened here, we did own a couple and produce a couple, but we would rather be landlords. We would rather just make sure that we cut a good deal with these promoters so they can make money and it's a good deal for the hotel property. We want to make sure this building's clean and set up exactly the way they want it. It's safe. And our staff is really, really amazing. So we can help an event from A to Z, or we can hand them the keys and say, hey, lock up when you leave. But usually it's the latter. A lot of these events are sometimes not used to coming to a building like ours where we have so much capability, video boards, and we have our own in-room TV channels in the hotel. There are so many things here that they can take advantage of while they're here. So, for us, it's all about taking care of our promoters and helping them be better promoters. That really, really is sort of our mission here. And, we think we do a pretty good job of it. And God, what we're very blessed about, Glenn, is 90% of the events we have been here since they started and haven't left. So, we're really, really proud of that.
Well, that says something. Is there a challenge for doing this in Vegas? What's the biggest challenge for being in Vegas as opposed to Oklahoma City?
Yeah, well, certainly the biggest challenge is the distance, right? People getting here, and so everybody wants to move in early. They come in at all hours of the night, trying to get here.
That's true.
Especially sometimes in the summer with the heat. Our biggest operational challenge by far in our building is just our conversions. We're trying to crank these events out every week and trying to get the building ready for that next show, cleaning all the stalls, sanitizing all of our stall mats, and everything we have to do to get that next event moved in is really our biggest challenge. So what we really have tried to do over the years, and it's hard to do this, it takes time, but we've tried to kind of stagger it where we have a huge event, 1,200 stalls, and then the next week, maybe that event's only 400 or 500 stalls. And then the week after that is another big 1,200 stall event. So, we've tried to sort of position our calendar a little bit like that, but we still have those 3 or 4 months where conversions are very, very difficult, getting labor, and just making that happen. Now, the good news is I'm knocking on wood, Glenn, we haven't missed an opening yet, but we always feel like we come close sometimes.
I've done events. I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
10 minutes
brother,
before they
yes.
show up, you're finishing up.
That's right.
I got it. So at a lot of facilities, they're also in charge of, this is one advantage you probably have. I don't know. I'm going to find out. At a lot of facilities, they're also in charge of the food and, just everything that goes to run the entire facility. I assume because you're tied in with the hotel, that's not on your plate.
Nope, not true. In fact, we are pretty self-contained out here. So we have our own food and beverage department, our own catering department,
really?
our own engineering department, our own security.
I thought that would have all been tied into the hotel.
Yeah, you know what? It kind of started out that way when we first opened, when we didn't have that many events. We didn't need to have all those employees. But now that we are so busy, we really, it works better for us to just handle everything we have here. In fact, if you compared us to any other standalone facility, there are probably only a few positions that we don't have, where we get help from the hotel. Certainly, we don't pay any utilities, power, water, those kind of things. So we're very blessed that way. That rolls up under the hotel. And then we use the hotel's accounting department, the hotel's MIS department, for any of those kinds of needs. And maybe, we use their attorney every once in a while, but for the most part, we're pretty self-contained out here, which is nice. So we can control that experience. And if we screw it up, we screw it up, and if we do take care of it, we take care of it. So we kind of like that. We don't want to have to rely on anyone else.
Is there a kind of horse show that's tougher to do just to put on than another kind? Or are they all about the same?
Absolutely. No question. This week we have a cutting horse event moving in. So we are going to have to set up 3 arenas with all cutting panels and the cutting walls and the sand and, the footing. And we're bringing in about 4,000 head of cattle outdoors. So,
oh, wow.
Huge,
That's a lot of
setup. Yeah. I would say the cutting events are definitely very, very operationally challenging. We just hosted the Run for a Million event here, which sells out 3 nights in a row, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm sure a lot of your listeners know about that event that Taylor Sheridan has created here.
Yep.
That event is very challenging on the front of the house in terms of, all the staffing and the data they need and the television and the production and the power and, so they all have some different challenges, but those 2 are very challenging. And then we only do, unlike your friends out there in Florida and on the East Coast, we only do 1 big jumping event a year. And that tends to be a little more challenging for us because we don't do that every day.
Right.
As far as the footing and
speaking of footing, while you're on that topic, do you store the footing somewhere and then you just bring the different footings back and forth? How does that work?
That's exactly right. Yep. We have about 5 different piles of dirt out back. and that's exactly it. Yeah. In the old days, we were able to just take all of our base footing out and bring in, the footing that was needed for that particular event. And now what we do is we just hard pack our base footing and then bring in whatever we need on top of that and then just scrape it off.
That'd be the only way you could do it now with all these different footings that everybody wants.
That's correct.
And every event seems to have a different footing. It's just, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. As you know, that's the most important thing for these exhibitors, making sure that that's top notch. And, we take that responsibility personally. I mean, that for us is our reputation. And, if a building does not have good footing, that can get out there really, really quick in a bad way.
How long does it take to turn over footing in an arena? They're pretty big arenas.
We can have our dirt out of here and the building cleaned in 24 hours.
Wow.
Easily. Yeah, no doubt. And and it just depends. For the Run for a Million, we had to go from a raining setup to cutting event and then back to raining in the matter of about 12 hours. So, it's only time and money, Glenn. That's all it takes, man.
And a lot of people.
That's right. That's right.
Well, this is Pat. Do you have are you a horse guy? Were you ever a horse guy? With the name is Stallworth, please tell me you were a horse guy.
Well, you know what? I would like to say I was, Glenn, but I grew up in a small town, Yuma, Arizona.
Oh, yeah?
And I should have paid a lot more attention to what was going on there. But my history, I've been in the venue business now for 32 years. I was at the Thomas and Mack Center here in Las Vegas for 10 years, which is where our National Finals Rodeo is held. And then we opened for Mr. Gahn. Michael Gahn and his wife Paula own this hotel casino. They're one of the there might only be a couple of individual owners anymore.
I was going to say there aren't too many
of these big properties. Yeah. So I went to work for him back in 2000. We opened the Orleans Arena, which is kind of your typical local arena. We had a hockey team and an arena football team and Disney on Ice and the circus and all of those sort of local family events. And then he said he wanted to build an equestrian center at his new hotel. And quite honestly, Glenn, I looked at him and I said, "Sir, I don't even really know what that is."
He said, "Good, I'll hire you. You can run it."
There you go.
We'll figure it out together.
There you go. I was just going to say, I don't want to bore your listeners, but when he said he wanted to do that, he had a clear vision in his mind, he and his wife, on what they wanted to do. And I called every equestrian center in America, every association, and honestly, Glenn, almost all of them said, bad idea. They felt, you had made the comment earlier, they felt that we were way too far from the central part of America where these horse events are. They felt like it was way too hot in Las Vegas for these exhibitors to travel. There were way too many distractions for them. I reported that back to Mr. Gahn, and I said, sir, this may not be a good idea. He said, well, I'm going to do it anyway, so you guys better figure it out. So, and honestly, it did take us a while. It took a while to kind of get it up and going. We don't allow live-in quarters. We don't have any RV hookups. We want people to stay in the hotel. That was a big concern early on. And, certainly the distance traveling. But I tell you, it's been amazing. Certainly the southwestern part of the country is here a lot, California, Arizona, Utah, those kind of states. But we get a lot of mountain states business. It is about an equal distance from Calgary to Las Vegas as it is Fort Worth to Las Vegas.
Really?
So we get a lot of those. That's correct, yes. We get a lot of those mountain states. We get a lot of the southern Canadians down here. So it's been honestly just a great thing, not just for our hotel property, but also for our city. It's been a whole nother venue that we've been able to bring to our city, a whole nother industry for our city that we never had before, quite honestly. So it's been a lot of fun.
All right, I have to ask you one more question. I know you're not going to answer it. Do you you're not a horse person. You didn't grow up a horse person. I didn't either. I married into this. So,
there we go.
So do you have a favorite event for watching? I know you don't get to watch much, but you must watch some. Do you have a favorite event?
Yeah, I think what we really enjoy here, honestly, are the performance horse events. We do a lot of breed shows, but I think what we really, really do well, and our staff loves, and even me personally, is just the performance horse events, the rein cow horse events, the reining, the cutting, the team roping, the barrel racing. Those are the events that I think kind of juice up our staff and our crowd. And
well, yeah, because the crowd's juiced up for those too.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And get those events going. But one of these days, I got to visit you guys out there. I've never been to Ocala.
You let me know.
That building is. Yeah, I hear it's absolutely beautiful out there. And of course, I've seen all the videos and the photos. And
Robbie Roberts announced that on our show, actually, when he announced that it was going to be built. And it was actually about 3 miles from my house. So,
is that right?
Yep,
wow.
Yep. So we've been.
Wow, they do a great.
It is.
They do a great job out there and have a great reputation, no doubt.
Well, you let me know when you come in, all right?
You bet we will, and you let us know when you're heading out this way. And like I said, we hope we see all of your people here at least once or twice a year.
Where can they find the schedule?
You bet. If they just go to southpointarena.com, we are on there. In fact, I think we've loaded all of our 2025 events in there already. So there is always something going on here at the South Point, for sure.
Well, your horse's health deserves the highest standard of quality. That's why Nutramax, the makers of Cosequin, maintains their own world-class manufacturing facilities in the United States, where they far exceed what is required of supplement companies. Nutramax works with top universities and researchers in their fields to make sure that your horse has nothing but the highest quality supplements. With the mission of improving the lives of people and their horses, each product is backed by more than 80 quality checks and guaranteed to meet label claims, so you can purchase with confidence. With over 30 years behind the Cosequin name, you can rely on Cosequin products for the performance that matters. Visit Cosequin to learn more. All right, it's time.
Oh, Lord.
Here we go. We got to hear it.
Okay. So the place that I can't remember why we decided to do this. But the place we decided to go was Jones Auctions, the Jones Livestock Auction. And so we were going to go. We had kind of Saturday planned to do it. And so we loaded up, and we did take the trailer because I'm me. So we loaded up and then went to this place called the Jones Livestock Auction. Now, I had talked to a few people about it, and what I heard was like, one person said we got 2 horses from there and one worked out awesome and the other one did not. And then everybody else was like, don't do that. And I spoke to my veterinarian and she's like, my vet is the worst enabler because she's like, I can't wait to see what you do and we get to fix it. So we went to the auction and we get there. So it starts at 1 and we got there at about 11 so we could walk around and kind of familiarize ourselves with the horses that were up for sale because they put them online. There's like a picture of the horse and like a brief description.
Oh, that's a fancy auction.
Oh, no. It's not because most of it was completely wrong. The half of them did show up and the other half of the horses that were there weren't on the list. So it was basically just complete shenanigans. So you walk in, you have to sign in and get your number and all that stuff. And then you can walk back to the barns and start looking around. And dog, this is a dark underbelly of the equine world, livestock world.
So it is kind of New Holland West, huh?
Okay, so Electra, who was with us, so like you walk in and it's like a dark, damp barn, knee deep, and like you're walking on poop that's probably been there for 100 years, right? So like you're walking, and it's dark, and there's panels that are separating all the horses, and they're just all like tied to the wall. The ones that weren't feral, that were loose in these little pens, but there's tons of them crammed in and they're all just tied next to each other. And Electra said it great. She's like, this feels like what it's like, must have been like for like a slave trade, like you just walk in and everybody's just like, all the horses were like chained to the walls and it was awful. And all the different types of horses, there's 50 horses in there, all in various stages of life, and like some very young horses and some really, really, really old horses, and some really sick looking horses and some very injured horses. And it was just, it's as awful as you can imagine. Is that what New Holland's like, Glenn?
Yep, pretty much.
Man, I went to an auction as a kid where we bought like some Shetland ponies, and it was not like that at all. I remember like shavings, and there's each one of the people selling the horses was out talking to you about your horses. None of this. No. Nobody is there. They just unload the horse and they put it in and they leave. So there's little to no information about any of the horses. Now, fortunately, one of my great skills is aging horses by their teeth. So the ones that I wasn't afraid to touch, I'm very careful and would walk up cautiously. And at this point, I'm like, ask for forgiveness, not permission. I just kind of went into the horses I felt like would be safe enough to approach and looked at their teeth, and we'd look at okay, this horse is 8 years old, always 8 years old. And I look at the teeth and I'm like, this thing is at least 25. Like, I mean, so they weren't lying a little, they were lying a lot. Like, just utter shenanigans. But so it was awful. And I'm like, okay, let's just look around. Like, I want to, like, if we save one, we've saved something. What do they say? Like, you're not changing the world, but you're going to change the world for that one, and for rescues. So we start looking around, and my whole kind of like dream was to buy a horse that Anna could ride for the year she's here, because she's riding Miles and I'd like him back, please. So I was like, we'll find something that Anna can ride, just a 15-year-old quarter horse or something.
And I assume
like
Anna
that.
was along.
She was with us. Okay. Yeah. So it was Anna, Ginger, Brooklyn, Electra. We had a pack, Electra and Janet and Angie.
You had
all
a
of
pack.
us was like this swarm of girls, and we had been riding. So we're all in riding pants, like, look like equestrians rolling up in this like complete disaster of humanity. It was just the worst. And so we're all walking through and we're discussing each horse, like this pack of women walking through these things. And so I found this one really big. It was probably like 16'2", gorgeous buckskin wearing tack. And it's always a little sketchy when they're wearing a saddle, but they had a really good description of him. And he was like 14 or 15. And I was like, my mind going into this was like, even if I find a nice trained horse, I'm not spending $1,500. I'm just not getting $1,500 for something at an auction that I can't pre-purchase. So that was my mindset. So we liked this buckskin, and he was real gentle and real sweet. I picked up all his feet. I touched him all, even though he was standing there tied to a wall with a big old Mexican saddle on. Still, it was like, he's nice. He's gentle.
By the way, yeah, that is a red flag at those kind of auctions when the saddle's on and it never comes off.
Do you know what the biggest red flag is? Is the man who walks around with the ropes tying the horses to the walls that has 4 teeth and is chewing on a lit cigarette. Like, I mean, it was, I'm going to let the girls give you a little chat at the post show, but we're talking the lowest level of a human existence at this place. Okay. And so we found this buckskin, and then I walk around and I found probably like a 16-hand Palomino quarter horse who had some age on him, but I was like, he's 15 at least, probably 16, and he looks like he needs some love, but he's at that age. And he was real gentle, and I was touching him. Again, remember, these horses might be gentle or they might be sedated. They might be sound or they might be muted. You don't know. Like, there's no way to know. Like, if a horse is running through this auction, all I could think was like, there is something that made somebody run this horse through an auction. Okay. This auction, because this is bad. This ain't no Keeneland sales. You know what I mean? So I looked at those two, and then I found this little probably 14 two-hand gray, looked at his teeth, and he was 8 years old. I couldn't mess with him a lot because he was in a pen with 6 other horses, and they're all just tied to the fence. And I mean, and I looked at there, and then there was another one who was probably 100. And I was like, okay. And they all went in the orders of those numbers, fortunately. So the buckskin was first, the Palomino was next, the gray one was next, and this really old one was last. So I was like, if I don't get anything, I'll at least get that old one for a couple $100 and bring it home and, I don't know, feed it and euthanize it. I don't know.
Can I make a guess about the buckskin? They always go high at these auctions.
So the sale starts, and we've got our number and we got our seats. And the pavilion, the sales pavilion is a generous word. Like, how wide do you guys think that was? 12 feet by 24? Okay, 12 by 24, 12 by 36. Deep sand. And they start bringing these horses in. And the ones that are loose are pretty much feral, probably res ponies. So they come in and they've got whips, and they just run them back and forth in this deep sand 12 by 36 kind of area. And then the auction sold. And I must tell you that we all cried multiple times.
No.
Multiple, from start to finish. It was just like, my stomach still hurts. Like, I woke up and my stomach hurt from the time I got in the car. So we're watching these horses go back and forth, and then they come in one side and they go out the other side. And then the ones that were rideable, I asked one guy on the horse, I was like, hey, is this your horse? Because I want to ask questions. He's like, no, I'm just a pilot. Okay, cool. So they just get on these horses and ride them into this area. And Glenn, I swear to God, they've got curb bits in their mouths or snaffles and big old Western saddles. And the horses are scared to come in. And so they just start whipping them.
Yep.
And they whip them in, and then they want to turn them around and make them run the other way, deep sand. And so they then flip the reins over and whip the other side of their butt and just whip back and forth. And I mean, it's awful. It's awful. I mean, but I was...
No little kids standing up on the saddle?
There's no kids. There's no kids.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
I was the only one who... There was one kid, and they ended up buying one Hackney pony. And I was so grateful that they bought this Hackney pony. This little girl was so excited. Hopefully she's still alive. So then the
girl and the
comes
Hackney.
in. Yeah. And there were some other, there was 2 other couples, a female couple and a husband and wife that were walking around. And I was like, okay, we talked to them, and they were both just they're looking for horses like we were. And I was like, any horse that goes home with either one of these pairs, we're going to be okay about, we're going to feel okay about it. So the big, giant, beautiful, stunning, gentle buckskin comes out, or sedated, whatever, it's fine. So he comes out, and they get him running around, and they didn't really have to whip him or anything. And that lady got in a bidding war with the other couple And that horse went for $5,000.
That's what I was going to guess, $5,000.
And I was like,
Wow.
I think I bid at like 800, and I'm out, I'm just going to watch this play out. And so they were both fighting over it. And then the Palomino came out, and the other nice couple, I think they paid like $3,700 for him. So I was like, okay, those two are safe. So they're good. The Hackney pony came out. The family with the little girl bought the Hackney pony. And I was like, and she was so excited. I was like, oh, this is great. And then those people all left. They left. And here's all of us, white girls in riding pants, sitting up on the wall. And the only horse left, the two horses left was the little gray horse that I saw, a little gray, about 14 3-hand quarter horse. And he's supposed to be, his number was 45. Okay. And 46 comes out, 47 comes out, and no 45. And I was like, what happened? Why is he not out? And then about 3 horses later, because I'm sitting on my hands, you guys, you have no idea how hard this was for me, how incredibly painful this was for me. But I'm sitting on my hands, and finally the gray horse comes in. And again, I'm on the back wall, kind of by the doors. And the gray horse comes in, and they lead him in, and he's got a saddle on. But they're not riding him, which was good because they weren't whipping him or anything. And they're just kind of walking him around. And obviously he's very nervous to be there. But I start bidding, and somebody else is bidding. And the bidding gets up to, it's like, we're just doing $50, $100 increments going back and forth because I'm not sold. I mean, I'm not sold on any of this. It's awful. The whole thing is awful. But I was like, if I can just get a damn horse for Anna to ride, this looks like the most reasonable. He's not 150 years old. He's not 3. Like, he's wearing a saddle. And the bidding keeps going. And it's at $1,400. And I bid the $1,400 because I was not going to pay $1,500. And at this point, I'm kind of like, I kind of hope somebody else bids. I
know. I've been there.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know if I did the right thing.
Yeah.
And while he's
and nobody does
talking,
then.
while he's talking, this guy is standing on the floor, and he looks up. He goes, "Hey, you the one bidding on that horse?" I go, "Yeah, I think I'm currently the leading bidder." And they're still, and he's like, "I just want to let you know what I just saw."
Oh no.
It's still going on. I said, what? He goes, there's no rider on that horse because he just bucked somebody off all the way down the aisle, bucked so hard that he then ran into the wall, bucking this person off. And I was like, what? And he goes, sold! I'm sorry. What'd you say? And why didn't you say that 10 effing seconds ago? Yeah, I just wanted you to know you might want to be careful with him when you get him home because he bucked so hard that girl came off and then he ran into the wall and then they just brought him out here. And he's like, that's why there's no rider.
That's why he was late.
Yeah, because then they had to catch it. Like, Glenn, what did I just do? And I look at the girls and I'm like, oh my God, because they heard and we're all like, oh, and he goes, oh yeah, you in the back, what's your number? And I stood up and I was like, no, no, he just bucked somebody off into the wall. And mind you, other horses that have come in, they've been reading bios of them. Like, this one can be a little spooky. This one doesn't trailer load. This one doesn't do this. Not one word was said about this horse bucking somebody off and running into the wall 5 seconds before he came out to be sold. And so I stood up and I was like, he just bucked somebody off into the wall and you didn't say anything about it. And he's like, we didn't have any info on him, sold. What's your number?
Yep.
Son of a. So I held out my number.
So you got a gray bucker.
I walked in the bathroom and I threw up.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, I've been a mess for hours. I didn't even tell you guys I did that. And the old horse that I was going to bid on, which at that point I wouldn't, came out and sold while I was in the bathroom vomiting. Okay. So, well, hell.
Anna needs a challenge.
And they're like, well, can we just leave it here? And I was like, I just paid for it. I mean, they have my driver's license and everything. Like, I mean, it was utter shenanigans, Glenn. It's like, they were like, hey, we got all these white English bitches in the back. Let's just mess with them a little bit. Not say a word about this horse. Literally every other horse that was out there, like them, he got hit in the butt with a trailer ramp one time. And so he's a little nervous to load. All these things were said about all these horses. And then I get into this and they don't tell me that. So I've just bought a $1,400 monster bucking horse. So I got to go get him. So I back the trailer up and they go get him out of the stall. And he, of course, comes with the halter. And I was like, this thing might never load. I don't know. I don't know anything about this horse. I mouthed him. Like I checked his teeth, but he was snubbed to a fence. So it's not like I got to do anything. I looked at his legs. He's got definitely cuts and bumps and stuff all over him. But I was like, okay, so he comes out and he's got some shoes on. They're pretty past due, but he's got shoes on. So I was like, okay, somebody at some point has done his feet, and this sucker is scared. Okay. So at this point, I bought an 8-year-old, what I think is an 8-year-old gray 14 3-hand bucking horse. But all the girls are trying to be so nice. They're like, maybe they just cinched up the back cinch. Maybe he's just scared. Maybe this is not what he does. Yeah, maybe this is just too much for him. So I'm like, well, let's see if he loads. I didn't even bring a dually halter. Like, I don't know what to do. So I back up. That sucker jumps in my damn trailer, Glenn. Like, get me out of here. Yo, go, drive. Did not move a muscle in the trailer, did not whinny, did not paw, just stood there like, get
That's
me
better than 90% of your other horses.
Yeah, right? So we drive him home, and he's got this rope halter with knots on it with an attached lead rope. And I was like, I have a quarantine paddock, right? Because I'm like, he's going to be sick in at least, what does it take? 24 to 48 hours for those to kick in. So I'm like,
those horses.
Yeah. So he's quarantined at one end of the farm. And when we got home, we bleached our shoes. We washed everything. We went crazy. We took off our clothes and
we
burned them. I mean,
we did the same thing. Yep.
Yeah. So I unload him, and Farm Boy was here when we drove up. And I don't know who leans out. I think Ginger leaned out the window and goes, "Hey, Barrett, Jamie bought you a horse." I was like, "Yep, I did." So we get him out, and he's, he walks out nicely, but he's just scared to death. And so I get him on the paddock, and I was like, you know what? I probably shouldn't take this halter off, but I have to take it off because it's a rope halter with knots on the nose and it's going to attach a lead rope. So I think Janet ran into the barn, or somebody ran in the barn and got me a halter, and I was able to get it on him. Now, he was not thrilled about it, but I got it on him and took the other halter off, and he was gone. Like, I mean, he's in a tiny paddock at the front of my property, but he wants nothing to do with people, like nothing. So Ginger went back because this is so sad. I get his Coggins, right, which is utterly worthless because it was done 9 months ago, utterly worthless. The person who owned him was a livestock auction in Missouri. The name on the Coggins was left blank. The age was the letter A, which just means aged. That means he's not a baby. And that's all the information that was provided. It might not even
have been his Coggins.
Yeah, right. I was like, let me check the world. So, well, I think it was simply because we went to that auction site and saw him being sold the last 3 months, and 3 months before that, and 3 months before that. All this horse has ever done is be auctioned off. And I'm hoping and praying that this last one was the straw that broke the camel's back, right? I'll never, ever let this horse go to an auction again. I've made this promise to him. I've got him to where he will come up to me, and this is 36 hours. He will come up to me and eat grain out of the bucket that I'm holding. I can now touch him on the forehead and on the left side of the neck and on the right side of his neck. He is scared of everything. He has been so abused. He has had his whole entire life is being run through sales, snubbed to fence posts.
That's one of the first things we would look for when we would look at horses at auctions is, did they have glue marks from previous numbers on their butt? And some of them would have 2 or 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so his number was 45. And so we get him home. And like I said, he's very hungry. And we put him in this paddock and gave him some water. And he wouldn't come anywhere near the hay or water or grain. But like I said, now I would go out there 10 times a day and I'm holding food. And he comes up to me and is now eating the food out of the bucket. And I can touch the left side and right side of his neck. He sometimes if you go too far back, he pins his ears like, nope, you're going to hurt me. So I think what I'm going to do with him is just make friends. I'm just going to.
He's going to need time.
Yeah. I'm just going to let him know that we are his friend. I'm not going to do join up. I'm not going to take him out of the paddock. We're just going to leave him there and we're just going to make friends with him. And
please tell me you call him Buck.
No, he's not buckskin. He's gray.
No, but he was bucking when you bought him. So that's why I came up with
I'm
Buck.
not naming him that. We named him something way better.
Okay, what's that?
Well, remember I told you what his number was?
45?
Yeah, we're calling him Cinco. Because Quarenta Cinco was a little too hard. So his name, I said that his name is Cinco, which is 5 in Spanish. And his show name is going to be Quarenta Cinco. So that'll be 45 in Spanish. Or Cinco de Mayo. One of those. We'll see how it goes. But Cinco is now in the paddock. And I talked to my vet about it. And, a horse that has been lied to this much, that is this emotionally damaged. And I don't know what physical damage he's had. I don't know. And I can't even look at his hind legs. He's got a thing on his hind legs.
Wait for the drugs to wear off for that.
I'm just going to make friends with him. But just with as much emotional trauma he has, one of the things in here was like, if we get one of these horses and what probably happens is he has been beat up and cowboyed and then he bucks everybody off and then they run him through a sale and he gets home and he bucks everybody off and they run him through another sale and he bucks everybody off. And like the guy who told me he had bucked the guy off in 5 seconds, this is like 5 seconds before they said sold. I was like, oh my God. And he's like, you could buy yourself a bucking horse. And I was like, oh my God. He goes, listen. Here's what you do. Just get him home. Just run the piss out of him. And if he stops, just hit him. And he's like, you'll get it figured out. I was like, thank you for that. That's really helpful information. I appreciate it. But that's what's been done to this horse. So now I did not end up getting the horse for Anna to ride.
Well, who knows? Maybe by the time Anna leaves in a year,
you'll be able to touch him, Anna. So
where'd that come
It's
from?
a disaster. It's a mess. And it's, if for some reason this horse is so broken, the last thing that I would die before I would send him to another auction. Horses like this, and the other horses in the auction, to get $200 for him going to Mexico, like how horrible. I would euthanize a horse before I would ever run it through an auction. Or if this guy turns out to be dangerous and vicious and unsafe, that's definitely a kinder option than running him through a sale again to get a couple $100. I can't believe the level of humanity or lack of humanity at things like this. But I'm going to post his pictures in the show notes. He's looking really excited to see me in the photo in the show notes. Glenn, could you tell?
Yeah, I could tell.
He was to see me. So
that one back leg, I couldn't tell if it looked crooked, like in 45 different directions or what it was.
Like he's about to run?
It almost looks like AI did his back leg, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, it was just me.
Okay.
He's actually confirmation is fairly correct. He's just those little squatty quarter horse. Yeah. So what that leg is doing is about ready to run because I'm trying to touch his neck in the picture. So Cinco is here for a minute, and we'll see how it goes. You know, I mean, with what
You
I
can't
was
go back
able
to that auction again. It's too emotionally traumatizing for you.
we were like, we're never, ever doing anything like that again. So there's many things that I do in the horse world to say that I did it. And there's many things I do in the horse world to say that I'll never do it again.
There you go.
And that falls in the category of I'm never doing that again. God bless the people that like me were in there for that took a horse home and gave it a nice home. But this poor guy, I mean, he is just a hot mess. So we will see how it goes. But I'm like, if I can get Maverick, I mean, he wasn't that bad, but he was definitely incredibly fearful of people. And he is now like Anna rode him this weekend. And then if I can do what I did with Taco, who again, Taco wasn't this bad, but Taco hated every second of it. Like he just hated every second
it's not
of
like
everything.
This is your first tough horse. I mean, you've had a lot of tough horses.
No, but I just shenanigans. I just hate shenanigans. I hate falling prey to somebody's BS. Now, I did not spend more than I would have wanted to. Like I said, efforts. And when he said that, I was like, please, Jesus, somebody bid. Please, somebody bid.
No, because they all knew that they bucked the guy off in the...
Yeah, I was the only idiot in the building that day. No, I mean, again, like Electra says, and I'll let you tell in the post show, but just the fact that happened at that exact moment for that horse, like she's like, it's divine intervention for him, you know, like to be able to come here and receive some gentle connection and training. Like I can't imagine where some of those horses, I don't want to imagine where some of those horses went. If I had $1 million, I'd have taken them all home. But I mean, because it's just shocking how humans fail animals so much. I mean, humans fail each other. They fail. It's just a lot of failure in that building. And
I often wondered if it was actually better that they were going to Canada or Mexico for that fate than getting traded around auctions for years at a time. Which is worse?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but now you see things like people complaining about, roll cur and there's certainly abuse in every level, but dear God, this is something that needs to be looked at more than a dressage rider who, I mean, all of them need to be looked at, but this is something this is a dark underbelly of livestock world. I mean, it is just, these are not food sources. It's not like you're running cattle through a stale, but these are horses being treated like this. And again, I have read the book Black Beauty way too many times. Okay. Way too many times, because I walked around. I was like, I mean, y'all saw that they were like, I was like, if nothing else, we're bringing this sucker home. It was one of the last ones to go. And he's like 100. And like I said, I probably would have bought him had I not just bought what got in the news that what I just bought. I'm like, this thing is going to kill children and human. But again, I'm just going to do what I can with him and we'll see where it goes. And I'm not making any promises to anybody listening that this is going to work. We're all just going to take it day by day. And if he has been failed enough, then he's been failed too much and it's not his fault. So I'm going to see what happens and I'm going to try to make his life good. And Glenn, like on cue, I went out this morning to feed him and hold the bucket while he eats, and right nostril, cottage cheese. Here it comes.
Oh no.
So, at least I've got him eating so I can put some antibiotics in his food. But like, I mean, it was like 36 hours to the minute. And this morning I was like, oh, here it is. Like, please don't die. Don't die yet. I mean, come on, let's at least, we're committed to each other at this point. And all these girls with me. Yeah,
well, they were your enablers in the first place.
Well, no, I mean, they were really supportive.
No, I meant, but they're the ones that said, let's go to the auction.
Yeah, no, they're definitely dead to me after this. No, but I mean,
everybody needs to have that experience once if you're a horse person.
No,
yeah,
no, I'm going to tell you.
It's a growth thing that you learn. You learn the good and the bad.
Well, I mean,
awareness is how we change things in the future, though, right?
That's true. That's true. I don't know
That's
what I can
mean
do
by that.
I'm going to change the horse. That's about all I'm going to do because I'm not going back to that place. Good Lord. My emotions and my heart cannot take that kind of situation. So, yeah. So
New Holland got
Cinco
cleaned up a
wants
little
to do.
bit thanks to the efforts of a guy I knew. He was the captain of the New Holland police force, and he is the one that just made their life holy hell. And he's the one that ended up. What it did get cleaned up was because of him. He would stop every truck going out of town. He would fine him for everything he could find. He would harass him to no end. And that's how and then he became the district judge. And then he really went on a rampage. So
maybe he would like to move to Jones, Oklahoma.
But it takes a guy like that has some authority, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just, spinning in the wind. But I'm glad you were able to help. You're helping one.
Yeah. I don't know. My heart hurts about the whole thing, and I'm sad that I made these women come to this place. I definitely have a lot of regret about it, but like I said, I'm glad we got one.
Yeah, but they're
We'll
everywhere. I mean, that's just not in Oklahoma. So
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I know.
it's not.
And poor Anna, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Please don't tell your parents what I've done. Don't tell them where I took you.
Oh, there's some of that in Europe too. Don't kid yourself.
Yeah. It was the worst. It was the absolute worst. But we'll see what happens.
Now you got to see the bottom.
That's the bottom.
My first pony though came $90 from New Holland auction. Going to go to the meat wagon, and ended up having that pony for 15 years. So, it was my first driving pony. So, you never know. Well,
I'm just gonna make friends and see how it goes with little
All right,
Cinco.
Cinco. Yeah, he'll get it together. You watch. Ann will be venting him by the time she leaves.
Okay. Yeah.
Trying to help here.
So I'll send you a video. You know what? For real, like if anything comes out of this to where he's a functional member of society again, I will be just over the moon. But I just want him to. Like I said, I'm not taking it one day at a time. I'm going to start with making him my friend.
Yeah, just be careful, going from him to other horses.
Oh, no, we've got all the quarantine protocols in place.
Good. Oh, those days. I don't miss those days, to be honest. All right, let's call this a show. Congratulations to Cinco for ending up in a good place. So after his last 12 places. And we're going to do a bit of a post show. We're going to talk to the audience members that are there. So we'll do that in the post show. We have a full week of shows lined up for you. I am not sure if I'll be here Wednesday or Friday, but there will be shows. Lisa has agreed to fill in. I hope you don't hear me on Wednesday and Friday. That means we're moving into our house and we have the keys. So.
I hope I don't hear you either.
Thank you to Lisa for volunteering to step up. And thank you to everybody for listening. We'll see y'all in the post show. Yes.
Okay, spade hitter gelt. Please, gelt. Everything. Yesterday.